Hello there. So today I want to talk about something with being an agnostic, religious related stuff, and then I want to actually talk about something related to politics as well. But it's all in the same area of ideas. Um, the first thing with agnostic is I think a lot more people, even people who are atheists or think they're atheists, rather, there's more people out there that are agnostic than even realize it. I think religious people and atheists don't even realize they're agnostic. They're raised and told what to believe. But I believe there is an objective reality. There is a reality of how things objectively are outside of necessarily how we think it. We can think of the things in the objective way. That's possible, and I think a lot of us do. But then it's possible that the same people can't for other things. And I think a lot of people they will say like they're raised religious, they're from a religious home, and they're religious and they're growing up religious, and there's something to that to the extent that they're believing what they're taught to believe, but ultimately I think they only know so much and they're taught to believe, but they're still children. They really don't know. I think children in general, it's fair to say that they're learning and they're in a process of not really knowing, and ultimately they are just a bunch of agnostics. There's people they think they're raised religious and that they were religious, and then they become not religious and then they become atheists. A lot of these people are like that, but the truth of the matter is, they were never really religious. They were being raised to be religious, meaning they were actually agnostic. And I think there's more of us like that, and the more we can actually make sense of things and of the objective reality for what it is, the more we can actually help things, help be able to better things. How can you better something you can't even understand what the thing is? And if we're thinking children are religious and should be treated as like they are actually theists the same way as an adult, when really they're agnostics, and then they're more confused because now these children are being told. I'm not saying we should start telling children they're agnostics. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the adults to understand this is what children are. It is better to understand that this is what children are. So we are now in the mind frame of knowing we want our children to be raised religious. These children are just a bunch of agnostics. They don't know. And we need to do our best to make sure they do know. You want to raise your child religious, you want them to grow up to actually be religious. Make it a point to know you're not raising religious children that are actually religious and believers like you are. You might be that, but they're not. And you might also not be that either. For the record, there's a lot of people, they just live their life and they go with the flow, and they're just doing what they've been doing, and then they go off and it's like, well, what happened? The truth of the matter is they became certain before they weren't, or before they were just like going with the flow. They were just doing what they were doing. They weren't really questioning things that made them think maybe this is wrong. Maybe I don't actually believe this stuff. And when they did, they realized, oh, I actually don't believe this stuff. And then they went and they became an atheist. They realized, I actually don't believe supernatural, spiritual things as this. They turned on the atheist experience and they heard a bunch of arguments that made sense to them. And all of a sudden, yeah, I don't actually believe in this stuff, but I actually married a religious woman. I've heard these stories time and time again. Atheists, they just became atheists. They realized they actually don't believe in this stuff. They don't know what they believe. They're kind of just going with the flow with things. And then, like, now their world flipped upside down because they married a woman who did know she was, let's say, a religious woman, or vice versa, a religious an atheist woman, a religious guy, whatever it is. These are real things, and I think it's a similar idea when it comes to politics. As I was saying, there's something here with between politics and religion. A lot of the stuff really falls under the same umbrella. You have people in general. I think it's fair to say people are more agnostic in general with things. Politics, I find, really is religious ideals. People like to separate politics and religion, but the truth of the matter is, religion have politics within them, and your politics is based off of your religious views on things. Even if you're religious, so to speak, let's say, you might actually be more secular. You don't even realize it, but you do have more secular views, so your politics will actually show that you're actually more secular. You actually believe in things that aren't actually in line with religious beliefs to God. They're actually, you just also, you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to actually say you believe in God and think you believe in God, but you also want to do everything that goes against what God says to do in the Bible at the same time, because you're not really worshiping God, but you don't want people to know that. You want to it's hard for you to actually. It's not so black and white. It's hard to actually explain what I'm trying to say here. But at the end of the day, I think more people are in the under the title of agnostic, under that label with everything. Not only are they under the label of agnostic, they're under the label of libertarian or apolitical. More people, I've said this before, I think more people are apolitical. And I'm saying libertarian because libertarians, like, we want you to leave us alone and all that stuff. And I was thinking about this. In Brooklyn, there's a lot of people out there that I know from Brooklyn that their attitude is basically, I don't get involved, I don't mix in, and leave me alone. But New York in general is a blue state. They vote Democrat. I would not be surprised in the slightest if there was just more people in this blue state that could make a difference that are just apolitical and not involved and essentially relating the politics to the religion agnostic. And even if they're not agnostic, just they don't care, they don't know, they are agnostic actually. They don't know why they should be involved. They're not convinced to the point that they believe they should do something about this. When you're an agnostic, you're kind of like you don't know, you're going with the flow or you're doing whatever you're doing and I think people politically are doing the same thing. They're just they don't really vote. They just like yeah they'll just vote just for the to say they voted. They don't care that much maybe or whatever it is. More people I think are just more apolitical and libertarian, and a lot of these people I imagine aren't even being counted. A lot of these people aren't even voting. They're not even being represented because they just don't care. And not only do they not care, they just care about what they do care about. They're not a political person. I think a lot of people would just say, I'm just not really a political person. Or they'll just say whatever they saw on the TV and just like go with that. But they don't care enough to go into the depth and to understand. And they're more agnostic about things than not. And I just think this is really important. It's something we need to try understanding better and embracing better. And I'm not sure what to do about this because I do think this actually misrepresents the country overall. If this is how most states are, we're not properly being represented. We need to be better educated, I would say, and have a better understanding of how important and why important all this stuff really is to understand and get to the depth of it and really do something better. As far as I know, the school system is garbage. These people are coming away from the school system not actually getting the proper education they need and really just want to live their life and move on with their life, get married, have kids, do whatever people want to do. They want to be able to, mostly they just want to be able to have a little bit of a community, some friends, some basic stuff, and have some kids and have someone at home to go home to. Basic stuff. People are not like primarily thinking their lives are political, and yeah, I'm gonna be on that train and whatever it is, the Trump train or whatever you want to call these things. I think people are just more apolitical, more agnostic, and this goes religious. So we need to help people be more certain about things and the importance of these things, and really know better. Having that knowledge, knowing better, makes a difference for everyone. And us failing that as a society is really tragic and something that's been happening as far as I can tell. Anyhow, that's all I got for that. All the best. Thanks for watching.